All right, hey everybody, it's Nathaniel Avila reporting from Dallas County, and I'm here with Jessica Vega
Hey.
reporting from San Antonio. And what are we doing? What are we talking about?
Topic of the day is stabbings.
Yes, are you excited?
I am sure.
Very excited. She just told me that this is the most interesting thing we will ever cover, and this is going to be
Man.
the absolute highlight. All right, so how have you been today?
I've been alright. We just had a busy day, busy family day. You know, it's Sunday, got the day started running errands. It's so hot. It is so hot outside over here. I don't know how it is in Dallas, but by 9 a.m. it's already like almost close to the hundreds, and
Oh
it's
wow,
ridiculous.
it's getting a lot cooler here.
Lucky.
hmm So
But
like
yeah,
I think today it was just like, let me look at what the weather was today.
it was hot.
It was like a high of 84.
That's nice. I wish it was like that here. And then like my car AC isn't working right, so even in the heat, it doesn't work. It it's like it gives out even worse when it's
Mm.
hot outside. So the only time my car is cooling right is when the temperature outside is 90 and below. And it hasn't been, so it's been like hell in my car.
Mm.
I gotta get that fixed, but yeah. So,
Yeah, so what are we, what type of podcast are we?
true crime podcast.
Yes, we are. So we're going to talk about some stabbings. I'm going to start off with the first case that we're going to talk about, which is what I wanted to discuss for a while.
What?
Which is the story of the Slender Man Stabbing.
Ooh,
Have you heard of this case?
I have.
What have you heard about it?
I know it, the whole thing. I saw a documentary. I've even seen some other little shows, like those like crime shows where every episode is a different story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it on those. So
yeah.
interesting to
hmm
say the least. But yes,
So we're
continue.
gonna dive right into this case. Okay, so
Mhm.
it starts on May 31st, 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Wisconsin.
So two 12-year-old girls named Anissa Ware and Morgan Geyser lured their friend Peyton Lutner into a forest and stabbed her 19 times in an
It's
attempt
crazy.
to become proxies for the fictional character Slender Man.
12 years old, dude. I don't remember their age, but I didn't think they were that young.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think back, they looked really little.
Yeah.
That's
So,
insane.
so, what's your idea about like children who commit these types of crimes?
I have no word. I don't know. Like, whew, there's something wrong. Something's not right. Like, that's not normal to
Yeah.
think like that and do
No. Yeah.
stuff like that.
There is some things that are going on, and
Hmm.
we'll get into that. But let's first talk about Slender Man.
Okay.
Who is Slender Man? What is Slender Man? What do you know about him?
I don't know much about Slender Man. I didn't even see the movie. I wanted to see it, but I didn't even see it. I hear bad things about it though.
It's a bad movie.
It's but it's a fictional character as far as I know. Um, he just kind of hangs out in the woods, right? What does he do?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Um, Slender Man is a fictional entity created on the Something Awful online forums for the 2009 Photoshop Paranormal Image Contest. So that's where it got its start on a Photoshop contest. So the Slenderman myths were later expanded by a number of other people who created fan fiction and artistic depictions of the entity. So Slenderman is a tall, thin character with featureless white face and head, and he is depicted as wearing a black suit and is sometimes shown with tentacles growing out of his back. According to the Slender Man myths, the entity can cause amnesia, bouts of coughing, and paranoid behavior in individuals, and he is often depicting hiding in forests.
Okay.
So that's basically all you need to know about Slender Man.
So he doesn't do anything. Like, I mean, makes you cough, makes you paranoid, and what?
Um, let me see. Amnesia.
Okay. Okay. Only because I know the story, I'm just trying to understand, like... Okay. Go on.
So
Go
if you want to watch something about Slender Man, I suggest you watch Marble Hornets, the web series that's on YouTube.
Okay.
You gonna check it out?
I don't know, maybe.
Check it out. It's really good. Though it does kind of get kind of boring at times because I can only watch a guy walk through a house so many times. But,
Okay.
well, when it gets interesting, it gets interesting.
Okay.
So let's go back to reality for a bit. I want to talk about the stabbing. So the stabbing took place in David's Park, a wooded area near Waukesha, Wisconsin, during a game of hide-and-seek on May 31st, 2014. The perpetrators, Anissa Ware and Morgan Geisers, pinned down Peyton Leutner and stabbed her 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso with a 5-inch long blade.
Dang. Oof.
2 wounds were to major organs. One missed a major artery of her heart by less than 1 millimeter. And the other went through her diaphragm, cutting into her liver and stomach. So what do you think of that?
That's crazy. Ugh.
Imagine narrowly escaping death by 1
Right.
millimeter.
Lucky.
So Wire and Geyser told Leutner that they would find help, but they did not get any upon leaving.
What?
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, stab, stab, stab. Whoa, dude, are you okay? I'll go get help.
Jesus.
That's basically kind of what happened.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's great.
So afterwards, Leutner dragged herself to a nearby road where she was found by a cyclist. The cyclist called 911 when she saw her. I believe the 911 call is publicly available.
Oh, okay.
So Wire and Geyser were apprehended near I-94 at Steinheifel's furniture store after walking 4.9 miles. So they walked almost 5 miles. So that's a long way.
Yeah.
So the knife used in the stabbing was in the bag they carried. While Geyser felt no empathy, Ware was described as feeling guilty for stabbing the victim, but felt that the attack was needed to appease Slender Man. Leutner left the hospital 7 days after the attack, and she returned to school in September 2014. So she survived, and she went back to school. So isn't that good?
Yeah.
You don't seem very impressed.
Poor thing. Like, how soon did she go back to school? I'm pretty sure it's probably not that soon. Probably like a year.
She
maybe
left a
after.
week after the attack.
No way.
Yeah, she left the hospital after a week.
And went back to school immediately after that. Sounds like me with my kids.
Let me see. No, it didn't happen. No, it wasn't.
No school.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was like 3 or 4 months after.
Yeah, good. Shit.
So, yeah, it happened in May, and then she returned in September. So, okay, so following the investigation, Geyser was charged with attempted first-degree homicide, a Class A felony, and Ware was charged with attempted second-degree homicide, a Class B felony. Due to the nature of the offenses, both Ware and Geyser were waived out of juvenile court to be tried as adults. So in 2017, Wire pleaded guilty to being a party to to attempted second-degree homicide. A jury found her not guilty by mental disease or defect. Geyser accepted a plea offer under which she would not go to trial and would be evaluated by psychiatrists to determine how long she would be placed in a mental hospital. She later pleaded guilty but was found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect and was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which her father also suffers from.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah. I remember seeing that. It's crazy. And I hear it is hereditary. It gets passed down.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
So
I remember seeing some footage of her in, I don't know if it was like a room. I guess they were like monitoring her in her room, like at the facility. And yeah, she was like a classic case of schizophrenia. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. So Wire was sentenced to 25 years to life. An indeterminate sentence involving at least 3 years locked confinement and involuntary treatment in a state psychiatric institute, followed by communal supervision until age 37. Geyser was given a maximum sentence, 40 years to life, an indeterminate sentence involving at least 3 years locked confinement. In addition to involuntary treatment in a state of psychiatric institute until complete resolution of symptoms or until age 53, whichever comes first, followed by continued communal supervision, periodic reevaluations, and or reinstitution and further treatment as needed, as required by the sentence imposed. While Geyser will periodically have the opportunity to petition for her release from a mental health facility in the future, she will remain under institutional care for the duration of the sentence. During her trial, Geyser had been committed to the Winnebago Mental Health Institute and was the youngest patient there.
Can you imagine a 12-year-old? Oof.
How do you think that'll be?
Not fun. Imagine it being scary, but I mean, if she's already scary on her own, I don't know.
She stabbed another child.
Yeah. Oof.
So,
but you're there with like adult crazies.
Mm-hmm. No, those are crazies.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So, at a court hearing on March 10th, 2021, Ware, who was by then 19, submitted a letter to the court saying she was sorry and deeply regretful for the agony, pain, and fear I have caused, not just to Leutner, but to my community as well. Ware stated that, I hate my actions May 31st, 2014, but through countless hours of therapy, I no longer hate myself for them. What do you think? Do we forgive her?
I mean, if she's like, I don't know.
Because
she's so young. I don't know.
She's already been locked up for 7 years at this point. Because this happened like just this year when she sent this letter.
Oh yeah, I saw that there was some, like, they were releasing her. Were they going to release her or something?
I don't know. Let's find out. So on July 1st, 2021, just a couple months ago, Waukesha County Judge Michael Boren ordered Ware released from the Winnebago Mental Health Institute, gave state officials 60 days to draw up a conditional release plan, and required that Ware be assigned State Department of Health Services case managers to track her progress until she is 37 years old. The length of her which was like the length of her commitment. As of Monday, September 13th, 2021, Ware will be released with multiple stipulations to include 24-hour GPS monitoring, requiring her not to leave Waukesha County without permission. Ware will also have her internet monitored and will not be allowed to use any forms of social media. Ware will also be required to take medication and will be personally escorted to regular counseling sessions by a caseworker. So yeah, What do you think?
Hmm. I don't know.
You don't know? You think it's okay that she was released?
It's hard to tell with people with mental issues because, in, in my opinion, like it's hard to tell when they acted, they were not in the right state of mind. And is she gonna be okay now? Like, it's just hard for to tell on my. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's too soon.
Hmm. After even
I think
7
it's too
years,
soon. Yeah, no. I think she needs no.
she needs to be locked up for actions she committed as a preteen.
Yeah, I mean she was 12. So I understand that they're like she's grown, she's seen the error of her ways, she's not gonna do this anymore, she blah blah blah, but come on, she almost killed somebody. Almost killed somebody. Now I don't remember if she had any remorse when this happened, but I don't think she did.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Uh,
I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
Right?
I think
She was
it
cold
was.
blooded.
I think the other one
The other
was.
girl was freaking out,
Yeah.
and this one wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I know that's she has schizophrenia, but that to me is like sociopath. Like
Right. So do you don't forgive her?
I don't know about forgiving her yet, but and I just don't think she should have been released.
Mm.
That's just my opinion.
All right. Well, let's see what happens in 2020. So, an appeals court rejected Geyser's petition, which is this is the other person now, petition to be retired as a juvenile. Her attorney, Matthew Pinnix, argued that she should have been charged with attempt second degree intentional homicide rather than first degree, and argued that Geyser gave statements to investigators before having read her Miranda rights. He has petitioned the Supreme Court of Wisconsin to review the ruling, and they're still doing that now. So,
Oh, okay. Okay, so she hasn't been released yet.
mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Good.
Okay.
Good.
This is the remorseful one.
Oh, wait. The friend.
Yeah,
Oh, she hasn't been released.
yeah.
Oh, man. But still, like, oh, it's still too soon. I mean, think about it. Think about it. If this was somebody that, like a sister to you, or that almost died at the hands of two other girls. One of the girls was crazy, and the other one wasn't.
Right.
Do you forgive them both? Or do you forgive only one? Or do you. I don't know. I feel like it's still too soon
Mm-hmm.
for both of them. And I think the crazy one needs to be locked up a little bit longer.
Why'd you call her crazy? That's not a nice thing to say about a person with a
I don't
mental
know how to
disease.
say it. With schizo to me sounds just as bad as crazy.
No, she's a person with schizophrenia. You don't call her what you
I'm
said.
sorry. She was in a crazy episode.
Okay.
So at the time this happened, had she been diagnosed yet?
No, she got diagnosed
was-
during the court proceeding.
During this time, they hadn't known that it was.
Okay. Right. So, let's talk about the aftermath. Which, so the creepypasta wiki was blocked throughout the Waukesha school district. So on the Tuesday following the stabbing, Slender Man creator Eric Knudsen said, "I am deeply saddened by the tragedy in Wisconsin, and my heart goes out to the families of those affected by this terrible act." Slocious Strain, the administrator of the Creepypasta Wiki, said that the stabbing was an isolated incident and did not accurately represent the creepypasta community. He also said that the Creepypasta Wiki was a literary website, that they did not condone murder or satanic rituals. Yep. So members of the Creepypasta community held a 24-hour live stream on YouTube on June 13th to 24th, 2014 to raise money for the stabbing victim. Joe Jazwowski, an administrator on the Creepypasta website, said that the purpose of the stream was to show that the members of the community cared for the victim and did not condone real-world violence because they enjoyed fiction that contains violence. Am I right?
Sure.
Sure. What do you mean sure?
Yeah, you're right.
Like you're wearing a shirt with Michael Myers. That
Yeah,
doesn't mean that you're a relentless killer.
exactly.
Hmm. So yeah, you want to show everybody your shirt?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Let me take off the background thing.
Look at that shirt.
I
And
think it's
oh,
super cool.
it's
It looks like a painting.
it's supposed to be a painting of a Monet's painting, a Monet
Yeah,
painting
yeah. And he's standing like on the bridge,
on the
and
bridge, and
his
he just killed
blade is
someone.
dripping blood into the water.
That must mean you're a ruthless killer,
I
Jessica.
am.
There's no other explanation.
Put me away. Lock me up.
Okay,
Throw the key.
throw the key away. So let's see. On August 12th, Governor Scott Walker issued a proclamation declaring Wednesday, August 13th, 2014, Purple Heart's For Healing Day and encouraged the people of Wisconsin to wear purple on that day to honor the victim of the stabbing. He also praised the strength and determination exhibited by Leutner during her recovery. The city of Madison held a one-day Bratwurst festival in honor of Leutner on August 29th, several days before the victim returned to school. Hot dogs and bratwurst were sold to raise money toward the victim's medical costs, and the event was run by over 250 volunteers and raised over $70,000 for Leutner. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Would you like to have some hot dogs and bratwurst?
Sure.
Sure. It's for charity, Jessica. It's to help this kid's medical cost.
Okay.
What do you mean okay?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I want some hot dogs and brats.
Okay. Is that what you call it? You call them brats?
Brats.
Well, I call them worse. Because you're the worst. I'm kidding. Yeah. So the stabbing resulted in extensive debate about the role of the internet in society and its effect on children. Russell Jack, Waukesha police chief, said that the stabbing should be a wake-up call for all parents, adding that the internet is full of information and wonderful sites that teach and entertain. But it can also be full of dark and wicked things. Would you agree?
Yes.
So how do you monitor your kids' internet activity, Jessica?
It's really hard. It's really hard. Like with Lonnie, I just have to pay attention to what she's looking at, and she's my youngest. Kaden, my middle kid, I just know what they're looking at. Like they're on. I know they're on specific apps all the time. They're just on TikTok and YouTube, and that's it. But I don't monitor him half as much as I should. Her, I have to all the time.
Who, Lonnie?
She's constantly just like pressing stuff,
Okay.
pressing stuff. You know, get clicking, click. It's hard. It is hard to monitor them because there's so much stuff out there, and like YouTube videos, like people put out videos that look like kids videos and they're not.
Oh yeah, that was
It's
Elsa
because
Gate. That was a whole thing.
so you gotta keep an ear out to what they're listening to. That's
Yeah.
the only way, because I'm not constantly watching it, but I can hear what's happening. And if I hear something's off, that's when I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on over here? What are you looking at?
Really? What can you say an example of what one of the things that you heard that wasn't quite right that you had to say
I don't
what's
know.
going on?
There's just these videos that they like watching the 3 a.m. videos, and sometimes
Oh.
they can get a little bit out of hand and kind of pervy.
Oh
So then
yeah.
that's when I turn it off, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen those. Those are really weird. They're not scary. They're just really odd, like really
yeah, they
weird.
are. So
Especially J Station stuff. Ugh.
what mine was watching, she watches the arcade Craniacs. And some
I'm
of their
not
videos
familiar
are
with them.
fine. Some of their videos are just the scary stuff, but then they started getting like just pervy and saying like inappropriate things, and so mm-mm.
You said no more. Block that
Yeah,
channel.
no, I turned it off. I was like, nope, we're not watching this. We're moving to something else.
You were watching it as like a family.
Well, no, well, I was sitting there looking, like playing, doing my tablet thing, like at the table while this was playing in the background, and I was just like, nope, I have the remote right next to me.
Yeah, that's how you put your foot down.
We're changing it.
Yep. So
That's
okay,
what we
so
do.
yeah, so yeah, way to go, Jessica. Way to put the foot down. What?
That's how we do it.
So John Engelhoff, a retired agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, argued that the internet had become a black hole with the ability to expose children to a more sinister world.
Mm-hmm.
Engelhoff suggested that the best way to avoid future incidents was for parents to keep track of their children's online habits and to educate them on the difference between right and wrong, which is what you're doing, right, Jessica?
Yeah.
So, Shira Chess, an assistant professor of mass media arts in the University of Georgia, stated that the creepypasta was no more dangerous than stories about vampires or zombies. She argued that the creepypasta websites were beneficial and that they gave people the opportunity to become better writers. I would say so.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really get on those websites, so.
Oh, I haven't read like creepypastas in a while. I know a lot of like.
And it's kind of like Reddit, right? Where you can go in and like write your own little short
Mm-hmm.
stories and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of like
Not bad.
I've know some like the more famous ones like your Forgotten by Disney. I know those types of ones. What else? I can remember the ones that didn't really age well. The ones that people thought were like super cool, but as time went on, it didn't really wasn't that scary. It was actually kind of bad. Oh, like things like Ben Drowned. Ben Drowned was a really good one. Um, then we have Candle Cove was really good. The No End House was really good. Those were all adapted into there was a show on Sci-Fi called Channel Zero, which was based on a couple of creepypastas. Like each season was based off of a certain creepypasta. It only lasted for 4 seasons, but they were all really good. But like there were other ones like Jeff the Killer, which is really just like
Some
this
weird
person.
looking dude.
Yeah, I was like this person like killed his family. Whoa, he's like so cool, man. Like that kind of thing. Like these like edgy teenagers would write.
Weird.
And he's like, dude, he carved a smile in his face, so he's always smiling. It's like no other character that I can think of. You mean like the Joker? Shut up! He's nothing like the Joker. He also burned his eyelids so he can always stay awake. And he's like, wouldn't that just cause like a bunch of dust to get in his eyes and cause him to go blind? Shut up! Shut up! He's cool. You don't know. Like stuff like that. What?
You?
What?
Sounds like you talking about Jeff the Killer to somebody that's all into Jeff the Killer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. There's also like Sonic.exe, which was so dumb. Okay, so anyway, let's continue. So a documentary film on the incident called Beware the Slender Man was released on HBO on March 2016 and was broadcast on HBO on January 23rd, 2017. You've seen that one, right?
I have.
Yeah, how was it?
It was good.
Oh yeah, it was really good. So on the season 16 episode of Law and Order Special Victims Units entitled Glasgowman's Wrath, which is usually loosely based on the event, the Criminal Minds episode The Tall Man was also inspired by the story. On October 14th, 2018, a movie inspired by Slender Man Stabbing called Terror in the Woods aired on Lifetime. In the film stars Ella West, Jerrier, Sophia Grace McCarthy, Skylar Morgan Jones, Angela Kingsley from The Office, Drew Powell, who you probably might know from Malcolm in the Middle, and The Ponderosa. Am I right? And also Carrie Hood. Christina Ricci also serves as the executive producer of the film. On March 31st, 2019, another movie inspired by the Slender Man Stabbing, titled Mercy Black, starring Daniela Pineda, and was released on Netflix with no prior announcement. That's how you know it's good. So, directed by Owen Egerton and produced primarily by Blumhouse, that's pretty good, It tells the story of two girls with pre-schizophrenia who attempt to murder their friend, believing that a spirit named Mercy Black will offer them a gift in return. However, the protagonist is released from a psychiatric care and has to deal with the realistic and paranormal consequences of her actions.
Okay.
Would you watch that?
Maybe.
You have bad taste in movies.
I don't have. I am not picky, sir.
No,
I'm
sorry.
not a movie snob.
I'm not a movie snob.
You're not
I'm like,
me.
you mean movies? Oh, I call them films.
That's you. That is you all over
What
the
are you
place.
talking about? Me all over the place.
That is you.
Ah, Sonic the Hedgehog. Excellent cinema.
You probably didn't even like that one.
I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was pretty okay. I really liked that they changed the animation. That was a good idea. I liked that they listened to popular demand.
It was cool.
I liked how they listened to popular
especially
demand.
like Jim Carrey. I didn't expect to see him.
Oh, as
He's really
Eggman?
good.
As
Huh?
Eggman? Yeah, I love anything that Jim Carrey's in. Let me see. Oh, except for maybe Dumb and Dumber 2. That was kind of stupid.
Part 2 was kind of stupid.
I know it's supposed to be stupid. That was a bit too stupid.
But like stupid bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not stupid good.
Yeah. So on October 24th, 2019, more than 5 years after the stabbing, Lutner, then 17, spoke to ABC's 2020 about her experience for the first time. She spoke of her scars, saying, "I don't think much of them. They will probably go away and fade eventually." She told the interviewers that she met her attackers in the 4th grade. When asked what she would say if she ever saw Geyser again, Lutner added that she would thank her because the attack inspired her to pursue a career in medicine. What a pure flower she is.
That's crazy. I want to punch her in her throat.
What? Who? Why would you want to punch her in her throat? She got stabbed.
The girl that stabbed her. She's like, thank you.
Thank you for stabbing me. No, it was supposed to inspire her to pursue a career in medicine, Jessica.
So I wonder if she's pursuing a career in medicine to find a cure for schizophrenia.
That might be a good reason, or a cure for being stabbed. No, that's kind of mean. I don't mean that.
Stupid.
I don't mean that.
How do you cure being stabbed? I don't know.
Have you ever watched Scott the Woz?
Mm-mm.
He's a pretty funny YouTube comedian who mostly focuses on like video games and stuff. And one of his sketches was that he was at a dinner, supposed to be at this like this Clue style dinner party, or with this and then there were none style dinner party where people were being killed off one by one. And at the end, he was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, they're in the hospital now, being treated for murder. They should be fine." He's pretty funny. So, what did you think about the Slender Man stabbing? That's the end of the story.
I still think to this day that whole story is crazy pants. Like, now that I know that those girls are 13, because I'm pretty sure I heard that in the documentary. I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and it happened in 2012?
2014.
2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
It was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. 12. So that makes them 19?
They're 19 now.
19 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But I still don't think they should be released. Like, I wonder, like, the second girl, the one that was freaked out, I don't remember her being complacent. I remember her being just kind of, like, tagged along.
Mm-hmm.
But they both did it. I'm thinking the schizophrenic girl convinced her that Slender Man was going to come and be... And she probably wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But like, no.
I don't know what a proxy is. They wanted to be proxies. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Like his little minions, kind of.
Why would you want to be a minion?
To some guy that makes you have paranoia, amnesia, and
Excessive coughing.
yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like what the point was.
I don't know, man. You were a goth chick in high school. You should know.
But I wasn't like praising or trying to be somebody's proxy or killing people. Like I was just being me. Like
Okay.
I'm not being no follower to anybody's group.
Did you? Yeah, yeah. Also, you posted those prom photos,
Yeah, man.
looking pretty snazzy.
That was my senior prom. It's the best night ever. Okay, so I guess we're gonna move on to my story, right?
Right, right.
So I was gonna talk about two other stories that I had found because I like to talk about stories that are based out of San Antonio. But this one story, I remember it because it's on a show that I just recently found on Hulu.
Mhm.
It's called Killer Cases.
Mhm.
And it's like I told you earlier, they talk about each episode is about a different case.
All right.
So this is one of the cases that they talked about. So if you want to go check it out, it's on Hulu. Their cases. I'm not sure what episode it is, but it's the Michelle Martinko case.
Okay.
Michelle Martinko. So I'm gonna start at where the incident happened. So on the evening of December 19th, 1979, Martinko attended a banquet for the Kennedy Concert Choir at the Sheridan Inn in Cedar Rapids. She wore a black jersey dress and a black scarf, black tights and heels, and a waist-length white and brown rabbit fur jacket, and she carried a brown leather purse. After the event, she asked her friend and Twirling Squad teammate if she wanted to join her on a shopping trip to the West Side Mall, which had recently opened, where Martinko worked. Her friend declined, and so Martinko went alone carrying $180 and intending to purchase a new winter coat. Once there, she pursued the stores and spoke with friends and other people she knew who worked there.
Mhm.
She was last seen at 8 or 9 p.m. outside of a jewelry store in the mall. At 2 a.m., since Martinko had still not returned home, her father reported her missing. He began to search for her as did the police at 4 a.m. Police found the Martinko family's tan green 1972 Buick Eureka in the northeast corner of the mall parking lot by the J.C. Penney. Martinko was found inside, collapsed over the passenger seat, and stabbed to death.
Yeah. So here is a photo of the car of the Electra.
Yeah, and keep in mind this was in the 70s, so
Yeah.
this happened in 1979.
Yeah. So this is a 1972 Electra. This is a tan green.
Those cars back in the day.
Looks like
boats.
they kept it in pretty good shape.
Our grandpa used to have a 19 quién sabe qué old Impala.
Ooh, an
And I
Impala.
remember, yeah, it was a four-door Impala, white. And man, you would drive around in that car with him. The steering wheel's so big. It's like really big.
You know what I would do? I would just like pull my seat all the way down and just be like,
You can't
Hey.
with those because those seats were like all in one seat.
oh, okay.
You
Oh,
know
it's
what I
one of
mean?
those. It's one of those. Yeah.
It was one of those. So, okay. So, Martinko had been stabbed 29 times in her face, neck, and chest. Her hands bore defensive wounds, which police said to indicate that she had fought back against the killer. Police determined from the lack of blood inside the car that Martinko had been killed while in the car. Oh, so lack of blood outside the car, sorry. And the medical examiner later estimated she had died between 8 and 10 p.m. The murder weapon was sharp pointed, but not definitively a knife, and the medical examiner could not determine its size. The killer left no fingerprints, which led police to believe that he had worn gloves or they had worn gloves. A police spokesperson said that everyone's instincts is to say it's a guy, but they were not sure of the gender of the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Based on cash found in Martinko's purse, Police concluded that she had not been robbed. She was fully dressed, and the medical examiner determined she had not been sexually assaulted. Police considered the killing to be personal in nature, based on the number and location of the stab wounds. Okay. So moving
So they
on
knew
to
each other.
okay, and the initial investigation. So police had a few leads and appealed to the public for tips. A police spokesman estimated that in the week after Martinko's murder, more than 200 people responded to detectives' appeals in the news for information concerning the case. Police interviewed numerous people, and several were cleared of suspicion through the use of polygraph. A juvenile found carrying a knife was interviewed and ruled out in her murder, as was a shopping center employee who had told police that he enjoyed following women and oogling store mannequins.
What? Why would you want to
Okay.
oogle a store
Just like
mannequin?
come on and be like, hey, yeah, I just want to let you know I liked watching women and oogling store mannequins.
It was just like,
Anyways,
hey, Jessica, you know that I'm actually a creep. I'm a super creeper.
just letting you know, coppers. Anyways, rumors began to circulate about the crime. Some thought that Martinko had received harassing phone calls before her death, but police stated that they did not think so. Another rumor emerged that a second stabbing had happened in the following days and that police were keeping it secret, which police denied. For some time, a prime suspect in Martinko's murder was a man who had the month before, broken into Cedar Rapids' home, raped a woman at knife point, and threatened to kill her children. He was never charged with the Martinko murder. He denied the accusations, and DNA evidence found later did not match his DNA. In 2012, that's a big jump. In 2012, while serving a life sentence for an unrelated attack, the man died in prison from colon cancer. Okay. Controversy arose 5 months after the murder. A woman who was driving by the mall parking lot in the early hours of December 20th came forward with information. She had looked into the parking lot as she drove by to check for her daughter's car because her daughter worked at the mall and had had car trouble before. She claimed to have seen two cars in the lot, one of which was Martinko's, and a man standing next to the open driver's side door of Martinko's car. She was unsure her information would be of any use because she had read the number of the murder happened between 10 p.m. and midnight, and it was 2 a.m. when she drove by. The woman communicated her information to the daughter of the Secretary of the Public Safety Commissioner and believed it would be passed onto the police if it was important. The police never received that information, and the woman did not contact police until months later when they reissued a call for any information connected to the murder. Detectives considered charging the commissioner with failure to pass along the information to police, but no charges were pursued. Wow. Maybe they didn't think that they could let that information was like important.
It's such a police thing to do in the 1970s.
Where the commissioner was just like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it, and just didn't get to it. Anyways, I don't know. I have no...
And she was 18. So she was 18, still in high school.
She was still in high school, yes. Okay, so on June 19th, 1980, which is the following year, police released a composite sketch of a man believed to have killed Martinko. If you share this, then you could see the composite sketch.
All right. Let me look.
June 19th, 1980, police released a composite sketch of Martinko killer.
Composite.
Okay, I'll continue, and we'll get the right composite sketch. Anyways, so which they formed from descriptions provided by two witnesses under hypnosis. They described a white man in his late teens or early 20s, around 6 feet tall and weighing 165 to 175 pounds, with brown eyes and curly brown hair. In the year after the killing, The number of people interviewed by police reached the hundreds. Up to 30 people were interviewed under hypnosis. As the investigation dwindled, a $10,000 reward was offered for information that would lead police to believe the killer. For lead police to find the killer. Psychics were also consulted early in the investigation. So now this is where the case goes cold. Oh, you found
Yeah, that's the
a
actual composite.
a
That's the actual
real
composite.
sketch.
That's the actual composite sketch.
Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I see. Wow. And that's her. That's the blonde girl right here in the middle. That's Michelle Martinko.
Right, that was the victim.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for finding that.
You're welcome. What?
Trying to show that other guy.
You're trying to show DB Cooper. I think I found the killer. It
There
is.
he is.
It is. He's wearing a bleached out William Shatner mask, and he has a butcher knife, and
Okay.
it's on her shirt. He goes by the name of Michael Myers. Okay.
All right. So it's at this point where the case goes cold. Cold case. As time went on, the case grew cold. In the mid-1980s, Martinko's father filed a lawsuit against the owners of the Westdale Mall and claimed negligence in not providing reasonable security on the night of the murder. The case was appealed and was eventually decided by the Iowa Supreme Court in favor of the mall owners.
That stinks.
Martinko's father died. Albert died in 1995, and her mother Janet died in 1998.
That stinks. The parents died without knowing the fate of her kids.
Without knowing like who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the investigations picked back up.
And they lost the Supreme Court case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to prove that, I guess. Because what if they did have security and they just weren't in that particular area at that time?
Yeah. That is kind of a difficult thing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
in
so what happened next?
2006, 27 years later after Martinko's killing, a new cold case investigator working in the Cedar Rapids Police Department received a tip connected to the case. Although the tip did not lead to any suspects, the investigator discovered what he believed to be the killer's blood while he was reviewing case files. From that, police were able to build a partial DNA profile. Documents concluded that fewer than 1 in 100 billion people would match the DNA profile. The results were entered into the Combined DNA Index System, which is known as the CODIS, the national DNA database, but no matches were found. Eventually, more than 125 people would have their DNA swabbed and compared against samples taken from the scene. Out of more than 80 potential suspects that had been identified over the years, more than 60 people were tested and cleared of suspicion. In 2017, a company specializing in DNA phenotyping was hired to create additional images of killer based solely on DNA clues about facial appearance and ancestry. The images looked considerably different from the 1980 composite sketch, and it showed a man with blonde hair and blue eyes. The company also produced approximations of how the man would have aged in the years since the crime. In a press conference during which the new image was shared, a former classmate of Martinko's exclaimed that the face looked like another one of their classmates, but the classmate who had been investigated and was cleared on a DNA swab several years before. The police received more than 100 tips following the release of the new images. In 2018, the DNA phenotyping company took the data they had collected the year before and entered it into the GED Match, a public genealogy website that has been used by law enforcement to solve other cold cases.
Oh, like this Golden State Killer.
Mm-hmm. Most famously, that of the Golden State Killer.
Check out our episode on the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GED Match returned one person who shared DNA markers with the suspect of Martinko's murder, and it determined her to be likely the killer's second cousin once
Oh,
removed.
snap.
Second cousin once removed. The company created a family tree starting with four sets of the woman's great great grandparents and reported that the killer was most likely descended from one of those couples. An investigator with Cedar Rapids Police Department contacted DNA test members of the two branches of the family tree and eliminated those branches as containing the killer. He then contacted a member of a third branch, and a DNA test determined that they were the first cousins of the killer. That narrowed the suspects down to a set of three brothers who had grown up in Manchester, Iowa. The brothers were placed under surveillance, and investigators began to attempt to collect their DNA secretly.
Oh, snap. They're always collecting their DNA secretly.
Secret
You think they're
DNA?
stealing your DNA,
How they
Jessica?
doing that?
By going into your trash and just taking your
Going
food.
into my trash like raccoons.
Yeah, and taking your food.
Mm. But yeah, that's completely legal, even though people think it's illegal. But
Yeah.
once you put your trash out in there on the curb, it's free game.
What if it's like the trash is like not on the curb? It's still
I
like
don't
in the.
know. I don't know about like creeping into somebody's trash in their yard. I don't know about that, but mm, I think once it's in the trash, it's already like gonna be gone. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I don't know. I don't know the rules. How to make them. Anyways, arrest and trial. On October 29, 2018, an investigator observed one of the brothers, Jerry Lynn Burns, drink multiple sodas using a plastic straw. When Burns disposed of the straw, the investigator collected it and tested it for DNA.
You
Tests
fool.
eliminated the other two brothers as suspects, but the DNA from the Burns straw matched the blood found on Martinko's clothing.
Yeah, that's why I always waterfall my soda drinking.
Yeah.
You like that joke? Do you like it the second time I said it?
No.
What?
Well, this is everybody's first time hearing it, so.
Yeah, that's why you gotta pretend that it's your first time too. Be all like, whoa, that's
You're
a
the one that
totally
said
hilarious joke that I
It's
heard
so
for the first
funny.
time. Okay, this is what happened next.
On December 19, 2018, investigators went to Burns' business in Manchester, Iowa to interview him. He refused to voluntarily provide a sample of DNA, but was compelled to do so with a search warrant. His hands and arms were also examined for scars possibly left by the assumed cut sustained during the attack. Burns maintained that he did not know Martinko and was not there when she died, although an investigator later testified that Burns did not specifically deny killing Martinko. He was not able to provide an explanation for why his DNA would have been present at the crime scene. According to the investigator, Burns showed almost no emotion during the interview, and even when he was eventually told he was being arrested, when asked if he killed somebody on the 9th of 1979, Burns reportedly told investigators, test the DNA. When the DNA sample was tested, it matched the blood sample found at the crime scene.
You fool.
I know. What a Dumbo. Test the DNA. Just test it.
Just
like,
test it. I'm sure
Duh.
you get it. And then it's like, oh, you actually matched it. Oh,
Why are we here?
snap.
This is why we're here. Hello. Anyways, on December 19th,
What was that
on
supposed to
December
be?
19th, 2018, exactly 39 years after Martinko's murder, Burns was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He entered a plea of not guilty. His trial was originally scheduled for October 14, 2019, but in September, the defense requested a delay in order to gather more evidence and interview witnesses. The defense also requested the trial be moved out of Lynn County based on the amount of attention the case had received over the past 4 decades, as well as pervasive and prejudicial pretrial publicity. The prosecution did not resist the request, and the trial was rescheduled for February 10th, 2020 in Scott County. So does that mean that he stays in jail that whole time?
Well, it depends if he made bail, but I don't know if they gave him bail.
Okay, I'm thinking they didn't.
If that's the case, then no, he was staying in a holding cell.
So then he probably stayed in jail. In pretrial hearings, Burns' attorney claimed that police needed a search warrant to gather his DNA from the discarded straw, but the judge determined that discarded property cannot reasonably be considered private. The defense also requested that evidence pertaining to Burns' cell phone browser history be suppressed. Investigators had reviewed Burns' 2018 internet searches and found that he had regularly visited websites showing blonde women being raped, stabbed, and strangled, and which depicted intersexual intercourse with murder victims. The judge determined the search history was not usable in the trial due to the decades of time separating the murder and the searches.
No. What do you do when you find out somebody is into that kind of stuff, Jessica?
Freaking head for the hills.
Would you
You
would you
leave.
would you block them?
Block everything. But that's ugly. What do you do? I would worry and I would question this person's capabilities. I mean, if they're looking up stuff like that, in my mind, that means that this is stuff that they would like to do. So they keep watching it. You know? It's
So you don't think
ugly.
that they can differentiate fantasy from reality?
These kind of people, that watching that kind of stuff over and over, I feel like watching stuff like that, it's kind of like in my head the way murderers are with the way they escalate,
Mm.
like serial killers, how they start off with animals, and that doesn't do it for them anymore, so they just go more and more and more and more and more until they
Okay.
start killing people. So I feel like if you're watching this kind of stuff over and over and over, like, there's a high possibility that this person has thought about doing this and may have done it, and we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after 2 days of jury selection, the murder trial began on February 12th, 2020. The prosecution emphasized the unlikelihood of the DNA evidence matching someone other than the person who left it at the scene. The doctor who performed Martinko's autopsy and investigators in the original case, all now retired, took the stand to testify to how the investigation was conducted and to Martinko's cause of death. The defense argued that DNA evidence had been mishandled, and that different articles of clothing from the scene could not have been stored together in one evidence
It
bag.
has been mass handled.
Mishandled.
Mass handled.
Mishandled.
Mass.
Prosecutors also played a video of a police interview of Burns in which he denied being in the crime scene on the night of Martinko's murder and could not explain how his DNA had been found at the scene. They also played a later recording of Burns' arrest in which Burns questioned whether he could have blocked out the memory of committing the crime.
Yeah, that's possible.
No. I mean,
What?
I think it's I don't know. I think if you really want to block out a memory of something that you did that was bad, then maybe you can, but I don't think he blocked it out.
Yeah. Is I've tried to block out some things from my past that I
and
can't.
and you can.
Yeah, like me wearing a fedora at prom,
And saying, "My lady."
milady. May I get a hug from milady?
No.
Oh,
Right, is that what they said?
I don't remember what she
They
said.
said no.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like mean. I mean, it kind of was, but I wasn't like, ooh, milady, can I have the hug? It wasn't like that.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, that blocked out of memory scene that they're talking about, that
Mm-hmm.
happened in a cop car, and so it's on the show Killer Cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's so stupid. The way he says it too. He's just like, I blocked it out. I might have blocked it out. And the cop sitting next to him, he's like, oh, I might have blocked it out. He's like, yeah.
It's riveting dialogue. Do cops usually
Might have blocked it out.
sit next to them in the back of the cop car?
No, but I'm guessing that they had already kind of like they had the camera on him too, so I'm thinking that they were hoping to get him to say something.
Oh,
The defense brought only one witness, a self-described forensic DNA consultant who testified on
self-described.
the Mhm.
What does that mean?
Self-described. I don't know.
I'm a self-described forensic consultant. I just called myself that, so I am self-described. So
Yeah, man. Anyways, who testified on the possibility that police could have mishandled the evidence. He stated that Burns' DNA could have been at the scene due to a secondary transfer, such as skin cells transferring to an article of clothing when someone brushes up against another person. Although he clarified that it was not in his opinion that this was the case with Burns' DNA. Prosecutors called a criminalist to contradict the defense's witness. Criminalist said that the storage of Martinko's clothing was not unusual, so it didn't really contradict anything. It just said that yeah, no, this is kind of normal, man.
I don't know what you are. You self-proclaimed forensic whatever.
Burns' defense carrying
What?
on. Burns' defense team objected to the wording of the prosecution's questions, which they claim implied unequivocally that Burns' blood had been at the scene. The defense requested the case be declared a mistrial as a result, but the judge denied the request and asked the prosecutors to rephrase the question. So my thing is, like, I keep hearing them say that, how was his blood at the scene? How was his blood at the scene? I wonder, because I don't know, and maybe it's in the show and I just didn't catch it. Was there a lot of blood that wasn't hers at the scene? Because if there was, then why is it even being questioned? I understand the whole like touch DNA. If it was barely anything, like barely anything,
Hmm.
but if it was enough to where they were able to get a DNA sample, I don't know. I just wonder if it was more than just like a drop.
This was blood. Like this is like full-on blood.
If it was like splatters of it, then yeah. What are they? They're just pulling at
They're just
whatever they
yeah.
can
They're pulling
grab.
at straws. Yeah. They're trying. The lawyers are very trying really hard, like doing last-ditch efforts, trying to get the judge to declare it as a mistrial in some kind of last-ditch effort to delay the inevitable.
But the fact that they bring the whole like um touch DNA thing, which makes zero sense. You know what I mean?
Mm, I don't. I
In
don't.
this case,
Yeah.
in this case, it makes no sense. The secondary transfer thing. Okay, so excuse me. On February 24th, 2020, after 3 hours, dang, 3 years,
You're
three
deliberating for
hours,
3 years. I'm like,
3 hours of
oh, I guess this is our
deliberation.
life now. We're just gonna
The
deliberate
jury
this case
found
forever.
the jury found Jerry Lynn Burns guilty of first-degree murder of Michelle Martinko. Iowan law mandates a life sentence without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder. On May 19, 2020, Burns' attorney filed a motion asking for a new trial, claiming his constitutional and state rights were violated, and that the court made a mistake in overruling the request of evidence to be suppressed. On August 17, 2020, Burns was released to life in was sentenced, not released. Burns was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In September 2020, Burns filed a notice of appeal. Burns is currently imprisoned at the Anamosa State Penitentiary.
Good, he's gone. He's dead. No, he's not
Yeah,
dead. He's
but what
still
I
alive.
really hope is that this whole like request of evidence thing doesn't become like a big issue. You remember the whole what's his name? Uh Cosby guy.
Oh yeah,
Bill Cosby. He got released on a technicality.
yeah.
So, stuff like this. I just hope that this
Mm,
guy dies
yeah,
in prison before any of that can
yeah.
happen.
Cosby's pretty
If
old
it's a
now. He's
possibility at
probably
all.
gonna die in shame no matter what.
Um but yeah,
I
that
can't.
is
Yeah.
the story of the murder of Michelle Martinko 27 years tipped us off.
Yeah.
All because of DNA, the DNA websites.
Yeah. I can't
That's
watch
it.
Fat Albert anymore. I loved that show, but now I can't watch it.
I don't think I really ever watched that show.
The Fat Albert.
Yeah.
It was a good show. It came out in like it was like in the 1980s or so. Uh, yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which will be the final case we discuss.
Is it short because it's really late?
Yeah, it is. It is short. It's one of the shorter ones.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about the Bishop International Airport attack.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the case?
Uh-uh.
Well, it happened on June 21st, 2017. So let me just change my location. Ta-da!
Mm.
Ta-da! We're in the new place now. Want to know where we are? Want to guess where we are?
I don't even know.
We're gonna be so an airport police lieutenant Jeff Neville was stabbed in the neck at Bishop International Airport in the city of Flint, Michigan. So
Flint, Michigan.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's what this flag is. It's Michigan.
It is. It doesn't even look like English.
It's in Latin.
Huh.
So, Amor M. Fatoui, a truck driver born in Tunisia who lived in Montreal, perpetrated the attack. Fatoui entered the U.S. as a Champlain at the Champlain, New York port of entry 5 days before the attack. He is a dual citizen of Tunisia and Canada. So friends and associates described Fatoui as a quiet guy and a nice person who was socially positive. Are you socially positive, Jessica?
Maybe.
Okay. So Fatoui cooperated with investigators, and the weapon was described as a 12-inch knife that had an 8-inch serrated blade labeled as an Amazon survival jungle. That's a giant knife. And this guy got stabbed in the neck.
Ugh.
So, the FBI later told reporters Fatoui twice tried and failed to buy a gun in Michigan, once on June 18th, and then on the day of the attack. Canadian law enforcement agencies also raided his apartment in Montreal and questioned 3 people there. So let's talk about what happened. So on July 5th, 2017, a federal grand jury indicted Fatoui for interference with airport security. On March 21st, 2018, Fatoui was charged with committing an act of terrorism transcending national boundaries. Fatoui's attorney had originally planned to present a mental capacity defense, but before the trial withdrew plans to offer his defense. Before trial, Fatoui's lawyer filed a motion to change the trial's location from Flint to Detroit due to their concern that pretrial publicity would bias the potential jurors, but the motion was denied. Jury selection was completed on November 6th, 2018, and opening statements began the next day. Fatoui was found guilty of all charges on November 13th, 2018, following a 5-day trial. He was sentenced to life in prison on April 18th, 2019. So I kind of went out of order here, so let's talk about what actually the events that transpired. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so the assailant, Fatoui, yelled, okay, so the takbir, which is which is a phrase that means God is the greatest in English.
Oh.
So during the attack, Fatoui was traveling on a Canadian passport. Numerous law enforcement agencies responded and the airport was evacuated. Bomb-sniffing dogs searched the evacuated airport for evidence of a larger-scale attack, but found nothing. Fatui was charged with committing violence in an international airport and interfering with airport security. And he was later charged with committing an act of terrorism transcending national boundaries, like I said. So, yeah, that's basically the long and short of what happened. He just went up to this guy. He just went up to this airport police lieutenant and just straight up stabbed him in the neck.
The heck? For no reason at all?
We're going to get into the reasons right now.
Yeah.
So, the FBI agent in charge told reporters Fatui had said something to the effect of, "You have killed people in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and we're all going to die." Fatui repeatedly asked the police why they didn't kill him. Court documents obtained by the media in 2017 say Fatui told reporters that he had planned to kill a police officer and then take the officer's gun and kill more officers. What do you think of that? He's doing that because he felt like America wronged him and his people in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. That's so ugly.
Huh?
That's so ugly.
Mm-hmm. So the documents revealed Fatui subscribed to the ideology of Al-Qaeda founder Osama bin Laden, and that he celebrated the attacks of 9/11. What do you say to that?
Not good.
That's... okay. He said that he considers the U.S. an enemy of God and that others like him would be coming to harm the country. Why do you keep on making those faces?
Because that's ugly.
At trial, however, federal prosecutors alleged Fatui plotted the attack because of financial difficulties in wanting to kill a police officer and then be killed to get into heaven. That's how you get into heaven, Jessica.
Yeah.
You kill someone.
Yeah. You're a Dumbo.
How dare you? No, I'm kidding. So, investigators found a handwritten will and testament in a safe in an apartment closet in Montreal that said Fatui loved his wife and children, but he was struggling finding a job and was feeling shame, humiliation, and remorse that he had a large amount of debt. So do you think that justifies it?
No.
It doesn't justify stabbing someone in the neck?
No.
But he had debt.
No.
And he was also a Al-Qaeda sympathizer. No, he wasn't? I'm pretty sure he was.
No, what I'm saying is no. He's still... no, doesn't justify anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not that good of a guy, it looks like.
Nope.
So, Bishop International Airport Authority Police Lieutenant Jeff Neville, also a retired Genesee County Sheriff's deputy, he was stabbed in the neck. And after undergoing surgery, his condition was upgraded from critical to stable. On June 26th, 2017, he was discharged from the hospital. So he survived.
Wow.
What?
Survived being stabbed by that big old knife?
In the neck, yeah.
Crazy.
So, airport maintenance worker Richard Krull was cut out on the hand while attempting to subdue Fatui. So he was cut in the hand. That was it. That was all of the injuries. The main guy who was stabbed and one guy who tried to subdue him, who was a maintenance worker, and he got cut in the hand. So U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions issued a statement about the incident. I want to assure all our law enforcement across the nation any attack on someone who serves and protects our citizens will be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I am proud with the swift response from the FBI and our federal prosecutors and our partnership with the local police and Canadian authorities. Our prayers are with the officer and his family for a full recovery. And he did. He survived. So Canadian Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale called the incident a heinous and cowardly attack.
Mm-hmm.
So Michigan Governor Rick Snyder stated with a series of tweets, Even with this attack, we will continue to balance our need for increased security with understanding and tolerance. I want to thank all law enforcement officers and first responders who assisted the scene today. I am heartened to hear that Lieutenant Jeff Neville is expected to make a full recovery. Isn't that great, Jessica?
That's great.
Lieutenant Neville was honored on the 4th of July at the Fenton 4th of July parade, where he spoke about the incident publicly for the first time, telling reporters that guy was up against more than what he thought he was up against. You know, really, he picked the wrong airport. What?
You're funny.
So the Flint Islamic Center gave Lieutenant Neville a check for $10,000 after a prayer service at the airport while saying about Fatui, he is against our Islam, against our principle, against all the values that we hold. So what do you think about that? About the Flint Islamic Center?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You don't like
I'm
about?
trying to stay awake.
Okay.
I'm so late.
We're almost done. So Lieutenant Neville was also honored by the American Muslim law enforcement officers of New York and New Jersey. Airport maintenance worker Richard Kroll, who helped restrain Fatui and was cut on the hand, was also given awards for his actions. On October 12, 2018, the Genesee County Board of Commissioners honored Chief Christopher Miller, Lieutenant Dan Owen, Officer Chris Kernow, airport employee Richard Kroll, and Joe Garza for their efforts after the attack. On March 24th, 2018, airport firefighters Lieutenant Daniel Owen, Michael Chilson, and Christopher Tolan were named Firefighters of the Year by the Genesee County Association of Fire Chiefs for their life-saving efforts after the attack, thus ending the story of the Bishop International Airport attack. So, what do you think about all that?
I think that was a big bag of crazy on that other guy, the guy that killed, or the guy that stabbed him.
Mm-hmm. So do you think? Yeah.
Weirdo.
Yeah. So yeah, and this was like during the Trump administration, back when like foreign people were considered like scary and bad and evil, like we gotta close borders and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't think that really helped our case.
No.
Yeah. Oh, their case, I mean. And also, like, the Muslim community around, the local Muslim community knew that they were most likely going to get targeted for this one person's action, so they really tried to get ahead of the curve and try to like, right the wrongs and try to disassociate themselves from the actions of this guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was Stabbings. That was a very interesting group. I think it was very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be, but it really was.
Yeah, see? It's good to give, like, good when we give things a chance. So, yeah, that was a really fun one. And I always enjoy spending time with you, Jessica.
Likewise.
Yes.
Nathaniel.
Yes. Because you're my favorite cousin, Jessica.
I am the best.
Okay.
You're my favorite too.
Thank you. I love you 3,000.
I love you too.
Okay. So yeah, that was the end of our episode, and we'll see you guys in a fortnight. I've been Nathaniel Avila.
I've been Jessica Vega.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to a Vision podcast, home of Wacky Talkies, The Kingdom, Evil Exists, and many more.